Louis remained silent for a moment, though the unease lingered in his eyes. We continued our work, but I couldn't shake the feeling that he knew there was more to the story. I thanked Louis quietly, feeling a warmth in my chest. Thank you for the conversation. My mother would have been so proud of you for following your dream. I paused for a moment, the memories of our shared past filling my mind. We were like family back then, weren't we? Louis's expression softened, a faint smile tugging at the corners of his lips.
Take care, Elizabeth. And remember, I'll always be here for you. Just like family.
His words lingered with me as I turned to walk back toward Mary. The path was a little further ahead, and it took me about 5 minutes to reach her. I kept my pace steady, the quiet of the forest surrounding me, till I finally saw her up ahead, pacing back and forth. She stopped when she saw me, a worried frown quickly fading to a relieved expression.
I shouldn't have let you go alone.
Mary said, her voice tinged with concern.
I kept thinking about everything that could happen to you out there.
I smiled softly, lifting the cloth with mushrooms, showing her the hall. I'm fine, Mary. Everything's fine. I reassured her, feeling the weight of her worry ease. Her eyes widened as she looked at the mushrooms.
You gathered all these? That's wonderful, Elizabeth.
Her compliment filled me with a quiet pride, and we began walking back to the house together. The weight of the day seemed to lift with each step, and the peaceful rhythm of our walk made everything feel calm again. Mary and I talked as we walked home. She felt less like a servant and more like a friend, and I started to think she no longer saw me as Miss or someone above her. I liked the feeling. As we went, I shared a little about Louis.
Really? That man from the herb shop?
She asked, curious. Yes, I said with a nod. It's been years since we last saw each other. So much has changed. I didn't tell her I had seen him earlier. For some reason, it didn't feel right to mention it. When we reached the house, Henry was waiting at the door. His arms were crossed, and his face was set in a hard frown. My stomach sank. I knew it was coming.
Where have you been?
He demanded.
The guests are gone, and you didn't even bother to tell me you were leaving. You've got no respect.
Sorry, Henry, I said softly. I just wanted to take a walk.
A walk?
He snapped.
You act like you're so busy in this house, but you're nothing but a burden.
I stood there, silent.
Get inside.
He commanded sharply, his voice laced with authority.
I'm tired and want to sleep. Don't disturb me once I'm asleep.
I obeyed without a word. I gave the mushrooms to Mary. The warmth of my time with Mary fading as I stepped into the house. I looked at Mary, her face filled with concern. He turned to look at Mary, his eyes cold and hard.
And you,
he said, pointing at her.
Don't drag my wife into your foolishness.
He snapped.
Yes, sir.
Mary replied, her gaze avoiding Henry's as she kept her eyes on the floor. As I dressed, I noticed Henry was already asleep. I made sure to move quietly, not wanting to wake him. He was angry, and I had no wish to make things worse. Once I had changed, I lay beside him, hoping for the night to pass without incident. I drifted off to sleep, but was suddenly stirred awake as his arms wrapped around me, pulling me closer. His grip was forceful, and before I could react, his lips pressed to the side of my neck, his breath hot against my skin. Henry, no. Stop, please, I pleaded, my voice shaking as I struggled against his hold. His arms tightened around my waist, pinning me to the bed with a strength I couldn't escape. He kissed me forcefully, but I fought back, pushing against him with all the strength I could muster. I shouted for him to stop, again and again, my voice growing louder with each plea. Finally, he released me, his movements abrupt and filled with frustration. He stood up, his expression cold and disdainful. As I lay in bed, I watched Henry begin to dress. He moved with deliberate care, putting on his fine clothes as though preparing for something important. I stayed where I was, still in my nightdress, unable to move under the weight of everything that had just happened.
As always, useless.
He spat, his words cutting like a blade. Tears blurred my vision as I sat there on the bed, feeling small and helpless, wondering how much longer I could endure this. I am not useless, I whispered to myself, my voice barely audible, but those words gave me a quiet strength I didn't know I still had.
What did you say?
Henry's voice was sharp with anger.
Are you talking back to me now?
I said I'm not useless. My sadness quickly turned to rage, the fire inside me burning brighter than before. He stormed toward the bed, his face dark with fury. With a swift motion, he slapped me across the face, the force of it making my head snap to the side.
I'm done with you.
He spat, his voice cold and final. Without another word, he turned and left the room, leaving me there, trembling in the silence of his departure. As he left, I couldn't hold it in any longer. I cried, both tears and blood from my lips staining my nightdress. It all happened so quickly. One moment, I was sitting there in silence, and the next, I was running out into the rain. The downpour was fierce, soaking me through in an instant. The streets were empty, likely because it was the dead of night. Everything around me was blurry, and I couldn't make sense of anything anymore. Before I knew it, I was standing at the front door of Lewis's herb shop. I hadn't knocked. I just stood there, drenched and trembling, suddenly realizing how disheveled I must look. Maybe Lewis was with his family. Maybe I shouldn't be here at all. I stayed frozen in place for minutes, unsure of what to do, before I made the decision to leave, unsure of where I would go. I turned to walk away, but before I could get far, the door swung open. Lewis stood there, his expression full of concern.
What happened?
He asked, his voice a mix of confusion and worry. My eyes fixed on him, the urge to weep swelling inside me as I struggled to keep it together. I didn't have time to think. Before I knew it, I was running toward him, unable to hold myself back any longer. I threw myself into his arms, holding onto him tightly, desperate for comfort. His basket of herbs slipped from his hand and fell to the ground, but he didn't seem to care. He wrapped his arms around me, holding me close as I cried loud against his shoulder. The weight of everything poured out of me in waves, as if my soul had been waiting for this moment to finally break free.